For this presentation, most of the slides are decorative. For the slides that aren't, I'll describe what's on the slide. My name's Matthew. I am a white male with short gray hair and a short gray beard. I'm wearing a gray jacket, and I'm wearing blue jeans and an amazee.ai t-shirt. I'm a digital strategy leader, AI advocate, and neurodiversity champion with a deep experience in accessibility, inclusive design, and enterprise transformation. I've led AI-powered innovation at Pfizer, where I helped scale global platforms and streamline digital operations. Today, I serve as an AI ambassador for amazee.io, and I contribute to the DrupalAI strategic initiative as a marketing specialist, where I'm helping shape the future of open source AI integration. And I also serve on the board of Drupal Colorado Incorporated and regularly speak on topics like AI ethics, digital inclusion, and neurodiversity in tech. At the heart of my work is one simple goal: to use technology, especially AI, to build more accessible, equitable, and human-centered digital experiences for everyone. For those that want to play along, we're going to spin up Drupal CMS environment using the amazee.ai provider. They've got demos up there that are super simple to spin up. And it'll also install, configure the providers that you need, plus some key modules needed to build a simple automator together. And I promise you, it will not be difficult to do. So while the instances come into being, while they're spinning up, I'll talk a little bit about some core AI concepts, and then we'll move into the live demo where we'll build a smart feature together. And then at the end of that, we'll do a group brainstorm and of things that you might want to build with DrupalAI, and then we'll have a little bit of time at the end for a question and answer. So before we go through this, can I get a show of hands, those of you that feel like you could build something using DrupalAI right now? So 1, 2, 3. 3 of you? Okay. Let's see what the show of hands feels like at the end of the demo. All right. So first, we're going to kick off creation of our demo environments. So if you want to pull out your laptop, if you want to follow along, that's great. If you don't, you can watch me click buttons and twiddle things and so forth. But it'll just take a moment for you for it to spin up. And you'll want to go to amazee.ai/DrupalAI, and then scroll close to the bottom of the screen, and you'll see that there's a form. Fill out the form, choose the United States, and choose the experience of Free Demo Advanced Drupal Skills Edition. Now, one of the things while you're doing that I'll talk about is the amazee.ai provider module. It is a privately hosted and data sovereign solution for your AI provider. So if you're using something like OpenAI or Anthropic and so forth, you really don't know where the data is being stored. You really don't know how they're using that data. We've hosted a bunch of different provider models that you can access from any region that you might want to. And it also spins up a vector database at the same time. So if you're doing some complex AI stuff like with chatbots and so forth, you can very easily utilize a vector database like that instead of having to piece all of these things together. To give you context, before I started using this module, what takes 2.5 minutes to spin up with the module would take me about a week to get all set up before I could start building. All right, let me know, those that are wanting to participate, when you have got the little screen that says that it's spinning up for you. Spinning? Yeah. Everybody cool if I move to the next screen? Yeah? All right. So the next thing is there are going to be 3 prompts that you're going to need to, or 2 prompts that you're going to need to pick up. And I've got on the screen here bit.lys for those 2 prompts. And actually, I'm going to just escape from this real quick, and I'm going to go into Slack, and I'm going to go into Drupal Slack up here. And if you want to go into the Badcamp, can you see that on the screen? No, you can't. If you go into Badcamp's the Badcamp Slack, in Drupal Slack. I'm going to post these links for you there as well. All right. All right, let me know when you've got those prompts and the difficult, complicated, boring test document set up or available. Folks ready for me to move on to the next screen? So there are 2 prompts, which are those 2 top gists, and then there's a document in Google Docs, which is an incredibly long, boring document that we're going to do something with. We good? Okay. So we're going to take a brief dive into some concepts while the hamsters are doing their thing and spinning up your environments. We're going to talk about a few concepts that are key to understanding how the cogs that make many AI systems actually work. So the first is large language models. Lots of us have heard about large language models, and it's sort of sometimes a little hazy as to what they are. But basically, they're advanced AI systems trained on massive data sets of text to understand, generate, and manipulate human language. You can think of them as autocomplete on steroids. Then you've got this idea of RAG databases. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. RAG is a technique that combines a vector-based retrieval system with a large language model. The idea is that you pull in relevant external information at query time and you feed it into the LLM so it answers based on up-to-date or domain-specific data. So how does that work? Well, it retrieves, so it pulls documents or data chunks from the vector database using similarity search for vectors. We'll talk about what that is in just a second. And then it augments that. So it takes this retrieved content and it connects it to the user's prompt. So if you're in ChatGPT, you put a prompt in. What's happening is that prompt is going through an embedding system, and it's being converted into a vector, just like all of the other stuff in ChatGPT. And then it's all shoved into the large language model together, and that's how the output occurs. A vector database stores vector embeddings. So those are mathematical representations of data, like text or images, in high-dimensional space. And these embeddings make it possible to perform similarity searches based on meaning, not exact keywords. High-dimensional space refers to many more dimensions than we can normally understand. So if you think about 1 dimension, that's like a line. If you think about 2 dimensions, it's a flat surface, like a piece of paper. And if you think about 3 dimensions, it's what we live in right now, height, width, depth. But high-dimensional space is like 384 dimensions, or 768 dimensions, or 1,536 dimensions. Vectors with hundreds or thousands of values. And this is impossible for us to visualize, but it's pretty easy for computers to work with. For example, the sentence, "the dog barked," might be a vector that looks like 0.12, negative 0.98, 1.34, and so forth, with 768, 1,056 values. And then the sentence, "the canine woofed," will be very, very close in that space. So again, how does this work? Input. You get a paragraph, it's converted into an embedding, a vector. At query time, the user input is also converted into a vector and is compared using distance metrics from the stored vectors and looks for similarities. So for example, king, queen, prince, princess. Those are all really similar words, whereas banana isn't, right? So that's the way it starts to do these comparisons. Just as an aside, embeddings comes from mathematics and manifold learning. In math, an embedding is a way of mapping one space into another, hopefully a simpler space while preserving the structure of it. So practically speaking, how does this fit into a system? The step 0 is to load the raw data into the vector database. You use an embedding generator to create vector embeddings, and there's several available commercially. and there are some that are open source. The most common are OpenAI embedding generators, which are commercial, and then there's Hugging Face Transformers, which is an open source tool. After you've transformed your data into the embeddings, then the next step is step one, the user input. That's, again, the input that you put into ChatGPT as an example. Then the step two is embedding the question using the same embedding model used to embed the documents. Then step three is searching the database using that query embedding. Then step four is retrieving the relative content chunks. And then the relative content chunks plus the original user question is sent to the LLM. The LLM generates a response. If you skip the embedding and retrieval step, so if you skip the step where what you put into it as a user prompt, you'll get kind of crazy hallucinations, because the RAG will only use information that it's got based on its own training at that point. RAG works because it grounds the LLM with retrieved and relevant context. So this chart describes the infrastructure set up behind the amazee.ai provider module. There are three stacked tiers. One's called AI applications. In this case, it's DrupalAI. The one below shows the Kubernetes layer with the LLM proxy, the vector DB proxy, and the amazee.io UI and API. And the bottom has the infrastructure, which includes the large language models and service layers. So up top, we've got Drupal with the various Drupal modules, including the amazee.ai provider module. And when our module is installed, it uses both the OpenAI API standard and the Postgres API standard. And there are several things that happen when you install the module and configure it with your email address and desired region. Your services are provisioned in the region that you request. So if you ask for Germany, it'll be in Germany. If you ask for the US, it'll be in the US. If you ask for Australia, it'll be in Australia. And that's less important to us in North America than it is to folks in Europe, where there are laws around where you can store your data. You're serving, and there's also an API key at that point that's created to access those services. And you can go into the key module, see what those keys look like, and all of that if you want. The proxies speak to the LLMs and your vector database. Both the LLMs and the GPUs that you've got available are all made available as a service. And all of this happens in a 2-minute process as of installing the amazee.ai provider module. So you can see that there's a lot of infrastructure and code that goes on along in the background. So what can AI do in Drupal right now? You can generate, categorize, or translate content. You can adjust tone or style of content. You can check check content against specific compliance guidelines. You can generate automatically image alt text. You can do AI-powered content suggestions to offer relevant content to your users. Automated or driven prompt workflows can be built, and you'll see that in action when we get into the demo and we start building stuff together. CK Editor AI Assistant allows you to leverage CK Editor's AI Assistant to write, rephrase, explain, translate, and summarize content all within the editor. You can have all of this happen in manual or triggered actions. So in manual, you click on a button, it kicks off an event, boom, the AI does what you want it to do. And triggered, something happens in your system. Based on the state of the system, boom, the AI does its thing. And then finally, you can do conversational AI, like, for example, chatbots to assist and support your users. So what is Drupal's AI advantage? Why is this better than other systems? Well, Drupal, where Drupal stands, especially when you compare it to other CMS platforms, is that while many other CMSs offer basic AI integrations, like content suggestion in one little chunk, or image tagging in another little chunk, Drupal's architecture allows for deep customization of AI workflows that can go far beyond that. A key differentiator is the community's focus on no and low-code implementations. So we're not just building for developers. We're empowering site builders, marketers, and content teams to leverage AI without having to write any code. And all of this is fully integrated within Drupal. you don't need to stitch together third-party tools or duct tape APIs. It's all natively accessible through modules and provider frameworks built for the Drupal ecosystem. And no other open source platform allows you to build end-to-end AI-powered experiences this quickly. With DrupalAI, you can go from an idea to a functional prototype in a matter of hours or days, not weeks or months. And that's something that other open platforms simply can't do. All right, we're going to go into the demo. So bear with me while I end the show here for the moment, and I get into mirroring. I think I need to mirror this one. Do you see anything up there? Nope. I need to mirror the other one. Yep. All right. And we'll go into... All right, so those that are following along, go to the page where you're spinning up your experience, and there should be a button now that allows you to go into a Drupal implementation. Does everybody see that? Yeah? Okay. We are going to create an automator together. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to go into extend.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the URL where you're at right now?
So when did you come in?
5 minutes ago.
And go to amazee.ai/Drupal-AI and spin up the advanced Drupal skills edition. That's as much as I can tell you right at this moment. All right, so now that we're in extend, what you need to do is enable the automator module. So go ahead and just in the filter, type in auto, and you can see that I've already got AI automators enabled here, but you'll want to check that off and then click install. All right, let me know when folks have done that. We good? Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to structure, and we are going to go to content types, and we're going to build content type. And I should have reset this one. I'm going to delete the content type. All right. We're going to go ahead and add a content type, and we're going to call this content type article. Now, names are really important because when we get to the prompts, the names will be dealing with for different pieces of it, different fields and so forth. Super important that you follow the language closely. I'm going to go ahead and say.
I can't read it. So what did you say we'll call this thing?
Oh, article. Call it article. Yeah. I'm sorry about the small screen. Once you've got into article, we're going to create a new field. And we are going to go into formatted text. And we are going to call this field body. Use text formatted long. And click on continue. When you get to this point on the field, we're going to go ahead and we're going to scroll down, and we're going to allow text formats content. All right. When you've got there, click save, and we're going to create another new field. This one's going to be formatted text as well, and we're going to call it simplified title. This one just needs to be text formatted. And when you get to that point, again, click continue and scroll down. Again, you're going to want to allow text formats of content. This is so the fields can use HTML. And then scroll down to enable automator, AI automator, and go ahead and switch this on. Scroll down a little bit further, choose the automator type of LLM text. You'll leave your automator input mode at base mode. There are two ways that you can do this, base mode and advanced mode. In base mode, it's using the UI to generate a token for you. If you go into advanced mode, it means that you can do multiple tokens in a single automator, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave it on base mode. Where it says automator base field, we're going to use title as our base field. So what this is telling the AI, the large language model, is that we want it to look at title in order to do the things that we want it to do. All right, now we come down to the automator prompt. If you go to the gists that I shared with you, and you go into simplified title, you'll want to copy that.
Can you read that out real quick?
Sorry, which?
Can you read out the prompt real quick?
It's pretty long.
Summarize.
Sure. Rewrite the following title in a clear, concise version appropriate for a 6th grade reading level. Requirements. Wrap the output in an H2 HTML tag. Do not use a P tag under any circumstances. Return only the tag and the text. No explanation, no line breaks, no commentary. Example of correct output. H2. Why volcanoes erupt. Closed H2. Context. Context. And we'll go over in the next one, we'll actually go through the entire prompt and talk about what the different chunks of the prompt are and why they're in place. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this prompt. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to pop it into the automator prompt field. When folks have done that, you want to just put up your hand so I know that you're okay, anybody not got that far yet who's following along? Okay. All right, so we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to advanced settings. And in advanced settings, we're going to leave everything until you get down to the AI provider alone. In the AI provider, choose amazee.ai AI, and you can leave the model as chat. If you open it up, you'll see that there are a bunch of different models that you can utilize, but chat for this instance is the best one for us to use. Scroll down a little bit further, and we're going to play with temperature. So I don't know why we did this, but temperature is set from 0 to 1, not 0 to 10, 0 to 100 or whatnot. But the higher the temperature is, the more random the output is. Basically, the more creative you're allowing the AI to be. And we don't want the AI, in this case, to be creative at all. We want it to look at the text that we're going to put in and factually transform it into something else. You might ask, why would you ever want it to be a higher temperature? Well, maybe you've built a site that has to do with children's books, and you want kids to be able to type into a chatbot and write a really creative, crazy story. You might want to have really, really high temperature at that point. In our case, I'm going to set it to 0.1 because I don't want it doing any kind of silly stuff. If we scroll down a little bit further, the last thing that you want to do is set the text format again to content because we want it to be able to use HTML. When you've done all those things, click Save. And we're going to create another new field. This field is going to be formatted text again, and we're going to call it simplified body. Again, we want this to be text formatted long, and click Continue. We want the allowed text formats to be content, and we want to enable the automator. Choose the automator type as LLM text, input mode base mode, and the automator base field in this case is going to be the body. Go back to the gists that I provided you at the very beginning and go to simplified body. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up this document. Okay, So what I've done here is I've written out the different chunks of that prompt that I just had you open up.
Could you show us, could you show us what the URL for that prompt is?
Sure. It is bit.ly/simplified. Oh, let me look it back up again. Just give me a second here. I have a bit.ly link for it. Go back over here. And go back up to here. Okay, so there are the gists. Simplified body is bit.ly/simplify-body-prompt. All right. Okay, so the prompt that I just sent over to you is the body prompt, and I've broken it up into 6 sections. The first section I call instructional intent. So the instructional intent is rewrite the main body between context delimiters for a general audience at a 6th grade reading level. Preserve all key ideas and logical flow, but simplify vocabulary and sentence structure. Ignore the field called title. This particular model that we're using is a Claude model, and it loves just looking at everything. And unless you tell it to look at very specific things, it'll look at everything and be really happy that it's giving you more than you've asked for. So sometimes you have to be very, very, very direct with these tools. What this does is it defines the task clearly and concisely. It sets a clear reading level for accessibility. It narrows the AI's focus by ignoring unrelated fields, and it encourages consistent output and reduces ambiguity. It keeps the model's attention where it belongs. The second section of this I call field-specific instructions. So you'll see that I've put a 1 beside this, even though there's just one instruction. I might have several instructions in this prompt in some cases. So, for example, if I wanted to do the summary, I might have a second item where I was talking about the summary. In this case, it's rewrite the body into 8 to 10 paragraphs using simple language. Save this to field simplified text body. So I'm telling it exactly what it is I want it to do and where I want it to put it. It sets clear length and field mapping expectation. It ensures output is aligned with Drupal field structures, and it follows a declarative instruction designed for AI clarity. The third section of this prompt is the formatting constraints. So I put in requirements. For the body, you may use these HTML tags, H3, M, strong. That's it. This restricts formatting for the front-end safety. It prevents overly complex or invalid HTML, and it ensures the AI outputs content that renders properly in Drupal. Fourth bit here is I'm telling it, I want you to only output valid JSON, and I want you to structure it exactly like this. So I've got a little bit of structured JSON there. And what it does is it enforces precise format expected by the automator. It encourages valid structured output, and it prevents parsing errors and post-processing headaches. The fifth is suppression of noise. So again, Claude, if you've ever played with Claude, when you ask it to do something, at the end it will often say, I'm such a good little LLM. Look, I did everything that you asked me to do. And here's bullet points of all those things that I did. Aren't I great? It's looking for validation. I don't know. We don't want any of that to come through when it actually posts to the simplified body field. So what we do is we say, do not include any explanations, markdown, or extra commentary. This removes the extraneous model responses. It keeps the output clean and machine readable. And then the sixth section is context definition. In this case, it's 2 curly brackets with context. This is basically a token that's automatically being handled by the UI. But if you give it that specific context definition, it will take that chunk that's within the twig template and make sure that you're only looking at this. So it defines the input boundaries, helps the model focus on only the content to be simplified, and it prevents confusion or unintended field usage. So those are sort of mechanics of this particular prompt. We're going to go back, and I need to grab the prompt myself. This one is body. I'm going to copy it. And I'm going to put it into this field. And we're going to go down to advanced settings. Same deal. Use amazee.ai, AI provider. Leave it on chat. Set the temperature to 0.1. And go down to text format of content. And hit save. When everybody's got that done, put up, who's following along, put up your hand. All right. Is there anybody that hasn't yet got there? All right. We've just built an automator, folks. Now we're going to test it. So what I want you to do is find the economics of tariffs, this document that I had the bit.ly link for as well. It's scintillating reading if you need to sleep. This is a graduate student's, economics student's essay that I asked whether I could use. They asked how. I told them, and they said, sure, but don't reveal my name. So this is it's a master's student's document. We're gonna use this automator to bring it down to a 6th grade level. All right. So we're gonna go back over to Drupal, and we're gonna go to create article. And I'm going to go back over to this document. Everybody got the document? Yeah? All right, I'm just going to go ahead and copy that entire thing. And I'm going to put it into my body. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And I'm going to, I don't know why I just did that. I do not want it to do that. Okay. I'm going to take the title out of there and put the title in here, and I'm going to click save. Now the hamsters are doing their thing, and what they're going to do is they're going to take a look at the text that we put in. They're going to take a look at the internal prompts that we have as our system prompts. It's going to look at the large language model that we're connected to, and if, knock on wood, everything works, it should take this document and give us a page that has the original text. So this is the original text, the original body. Goes on, on, and on, and on, and on, and on, and on. There's the conclusion, good. And then we have below it, simplified title, tariffs, good or bad for the economy. And it breaks it down into basically 8 paragraphs at a 6th grade level. That's how easy it is, folks, to actually build something with DrupalAI. Everybody who's following along, has it worked? Yeah? What do you think? It's pretty cool, right? Pretty easy. Okay. So
Can you queue that operation?
Hmm?
Can you queue up that operation so that it's...
Sure, you can queue operations if you want. In fact, in the automator, there's a setting that allows you to do queues on cron and so forth. There's all kinds of different stuff like that. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go back to my presentation here, and go back in here, demo, and we're going to go into the current slide and swap. Huh. Why are you not? Oh, I know why you're not doing that. I need to, in the show, I need to go back up here. I need to not mirror. Extended display. And play from start. Yeah. Get a terrible screen here. Displays. Okay. So next thing that we're going to do is, oh, actually, before we go on, of those that followed along, how many of you feel like you could build something now? Yeah? I mean, that's better than it was when we started. All right, so what I'd like you to do is click on the QR code, or you could use your browser. And what I'd like you to do is answer the three questions. There are going to be three options. And I want you to put in 3 ideas of something that you might want to build using DrupalAI. When folks have put some stuff in there, let me know, because it looks like it's not updating.
That's updating now. It's just took a while.
Is it? Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's like a slide picture.
25 characters isn't enough for us that actually type like AI. I'm an English major, dude.
Old text. Accessibility compliance. Shoe models based on fit. Who did that? I love it. Smart search, reading level updates, accessibility. Lots of accessibility here. Alt text generation, completing survey form, legal form filler outer. Who put feedback? I'm interested in what you meant by feedback.
I think I got that one. It's a feedback form, the website feedback form or something like that. And practical life, is there anything to automate?
Oh yeah, okay. So the comment was, this is for the microphone. Could we have a feedback form that could be automatically filled out with some stuff? Yeah, absolutely. You could use AI to take anything that's in somebody's profile, for example, if they log into the site, and automatically fill that in. I'm not sure we would need AI to do that per se, because there are other tools that could, but you definitely could use AI for that. Oh, craft projects gesture. I love that. Smart search. Do we want to talk about smart search for a minute? Folks interested in that? Okay. All right. So one of the things that AI can do for you is you can and in fact you can play with this on the Amazee site if you want. So again, where you spun up your experience. One of the other experiences is umami search. So it might be something like AI assisted search or something like that, but it'll have the word search in there. The cool thing about AI assisted search is that it's not constrained by terms and synonyms, right? So if you're dealing with Solar, you might have to set up a bunch of synonyms if you think that that match, maybe spelling errors as well, in order to return results. And Drupal search is even worse than that. So in the umami example that's up on the site, if you type in Italy it's got both Drupal search and a search chatbot to help you. If you type umami Italy into the Drupal search, it'll come up with nothing. But if you type Italy into the chatbot, it comes back with a swath of different recipes that are Italian recipes. That comes right back to the whole notion of vectors: king, queen, prince, princess versus banana, right? And the cool thing is, it doesn't have to be constrained by your content. So as an example of that, If you were to look up quiche on that demo, and you look at a recipe and it says something about blind baking in the recipe, nowhere in the database is there anything about what blind baking is. It's just a reference in a recipe. But if you ask the chatbot at that point, what's blind baking? Goes through the Drupal database, goes, I got nothing. Then it goes out to the large language model and finds instructions on blind baking, and it brings it back to you in the interface. And it'll even prompt you to say, hey, do you want me to add this to your recipe? And if you say, yes, I would, it'll rewrite the recipe for you with all the instructions of blind baking. It can even find ingredients that aren't within the site, again, out from the large language model, pull it in and make recommendations on changes to the amount of salt that you might want in that recipe or whatnot based on the ingredients that you've put in. So basically, the whole notion of AI-assisted search allows you to connect with your users more closely and allows you to tailor that experience to the things that they're asking for. Now, you might ask, what if somebody in that case were to put in, I have an absolute wonderful light-grade Valvoline motor oil. How could I put that into my recipe? Well, fortunately, you can build guardrails into these systems. So when it sees that you're talking about motor oil, it'll turn around and tell you, that's not food, but I can help you find some nice light oils that you might use there that are actually food. So there are all kinds of ways that you can improve the way that people are actually searching the content of your site and enhancing the content of your site. Any thoughts on that? Has anybody played with any of that kind of stuff before? No?
You're when it's updating the content to add the oil or the bacon section.
Yeah.
Is that something that's a Drupal thing that you can put into content moderation?
You certainly can put things into content moderation, but that's more around. That would be more around like what we just did.
Or is it just adding it to the chat prompt, the chat return?
So the prompt in this case is about. Oh gosh, when I wrote it, I think it was nearly 2 pages because I wanted to make sure that the appropriate guardrails were in place. But you put that into your internal prompt where you want those guardrails, and if you find that you need more or you want less, you can always go in and adjust the prompt.
So for motor oil or something like that, you have to put in the time to build all the... No.
I basically said anything that isn't edible,
okay,
don't allow people don't answer those kinds of things. So it's a wide swath of different things that it's going to pull into that situation. Now, let's say that you had an ingredient that was moderately edible, that people generally shouldn't eat, and then you find out that all of your audience really wants information about that ingredient. Maybe it's like that poisonous fish in Japan, where if you use it wrong, you kill yourself, right? You could turn around and say, okay, but include these items in that prompt. Yeah.
So the guardrails part of that DrupalAI stuff is really just in the prompting, right? There's no like separate guardrails module that you could use to sort of overall.
So yes, but there are guardrails modules that are being written right now. They're largely in alpha state and not really releasable to for a production site at this point. But yes, there are guardrails modules that are being written right now. Yeah.
And are the prompts config or content?
So when we went through the automator, you saw where we put in those prompts, right? Is that config? Yeah.
So, I mean, can you commit it, basically?
Sure, you could commit it if you wanted. Yeah. And in the case of like the chatbot assistant, you would build an assistant, so an agent, and then the prompt goes within the context of that agent. It's definitely exportable as config because that's the way that recipes work, right? So you can, any one of these demos that's on the Amazee site are created as recipes. So if you want to, for example, run the umami experience locally for yourself, you can do that. You can just use the recipe. Same with most of the other ones that we've got up there right now. Yeah. All right. I'm going to go into questions because it feels like we're really into questions at this point. Anybody have any thoughts, questions?
The cost model on using this on.
Yeah. So the Amazee provider is free for 30 days. And if you're a developer or a site build or a trainer who's using it for those purposes, ping me. I can get you a developer account that will go on forever and allow you to do that kind of work. Just don't use it on production because we will find you. After that, the cheapest tier is $30 a month, unlimited tokens. So as much as you want to throw at it, it's unlimited. Then if you want a little extra help, it's $120 a month, and that includes roughly 10 hours of consultation a month, the equivalent of 10 hours of consultation a month. And then there's an enterprise level, which we have to know what it is what the heck you're trying to do, and then we can build out a pricing model from that. But $30 a month is cheap. Yes.
So if I would use your service, you said right now you're connected to Claude. I assume you have the freedom to change.
Oh yeah. There's a whole pull down there. There's a whole pull down there of all the models that you can use. And if there's an open model that you want to experiment with that isn't showing, we probably do have it in our Bedrock instance. And you can ask, hey, I'd like you to enable such and such. So right now, for example, we've got a Canadian client that's playing with Mistral within the provider. But any of the open models that are available we can make available to you. Yeah.
So you just mentioned that the pricing includes certain tokens. What kind of tokens do you use on Amazee?
You don't need to even know that. Like it's because every model, like Anthropic has a different token sort of situation limit than OpenAI. So they count them differently. But the way that we've got it set up is you don't need to count them at all. If you want to, we can certainly allow you to do that. But what we found was that when we've done surveys, people wanted when they were going to their bosses or their clients, they wanted something that was consistent, that they didn't that wasn't going to change. Right? We've all heard the nightmares of installing Claude into Claude Code or something like that, and suddenly having an $800 bill, which you did not expect. This is a way to sort of constrain that and make sure that you have some level of predictability in your budgeting. Any other questions? Okay. So next steps, there are a ton of ways to get involved, and I would encourage all of you to get involved. You can check out Drupal.org, Artificial Intelligence Initiative Project, and there's lots of docs that you can read there. There's an aggregator feed that's hoovering up tons and tons of relevant content. There's a LinkedIn group, a company group on LinkedIn. There are several Drupal Slack channels that you can join. But probably the best way to get involved is just start playing with this stuff. Don't be frightened by it. It's not scary. It's easy to use, and you'd be just shocked at the kinds of things that you can build just by layering, one experience on top of another experience on top of another experience. And back there, I'm going to call Kristen out. She's also on the initiative. She's one of the initiative leads. Yeah. All right, and then a couple of other QR codes if you want to take pictures. There's the first one is just new to DrupalAI. That's where all of the different experiences are that we've got that you can demo. Those demos last for a week, So you spin it up. You can play with it for a week. You can look at how all the prompts have been created. You can change the prompts if you want and see how it changes the experience. Basically, it's a Drupal site that you've got admin access to, and then on the ready to launch, that takes you to the amazee.ai provider module that you can load into your own Drupal site. All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks. Yeah.
Do you have agency-to-agency business model relation?
Yes. Yes. So if you want to come talk to me about that, I can certainly discuss what that can look like.
I'm not the guy with the keys to the budget, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to know.
Yeah. Sure. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.